Hello, this video will show you how to complete a group by action when computing a summary. We're going to do this in Google Sheets using the query function. This video is at the intermediate level. Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. So here I have my data in a Google Sheet. The title of the data table is SAHIE. And the goal here is to obtain the percent uninsured, which is going to require the use of the insured column here. So I'm going to need to get a total or a sum of this column and then divide that by the sum of column I. And I'm going to want to do that for different race categories. In particular, race category 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to be for white, black, and Hispanics. So let's create a new sheet that I can put my query statement on so that we do not mess up our existing data table. So let's go here, and then we will start with our query function here. So we are going to say equal query. First thing we need to do is specify the name of the data table, which is here, SAHIE. And then I need my select statement. Again, the select statement needs to be in quotes. And what I'm going to do here, just for starting, is to sum the uninsured. So that is going to be column J, and then divide that by column I. Okay, so let's go back. Sum J divided by sum I. See if this works, and it does indeed. This is going to be, what is that, 10.5%? So the 10.5% is the percent uninsured across everything, so across all of the records here. Now that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this across the different race categories. Okay, so back to my query function again, and I'm going to be adding now a group by. So if I say group by here, and I want to group by, it would be column F, because that has my race category information. Okay, so let's see if this works. It does indeed. Now I am getting 1, 2, 3, 4 values, one for each of the race categories. Actually, we're including 0 in that, which I don't want that. So let's see if we can apply a filter to get rid of the 0 there. Let's go back to our query statement, and I'm going to say where F is not equal to a 0. So column F has my race category in it, and I want anything except for the 0. So that'll give me 1, 2, and 3 here. So the exclamation point equal, okay, that syntax is not equal to. So this should get rid of, let's go ahead and run that, and that should get rid of the 0 values. Now, it's a good idea to label my rows here. The reason the rows are not being obtained, or the labels are being obtained, and what I mean by that is the 1, the 2, and the 3 here. The reason they're not being returned is because you didn't ask for them. In my select here, I only have the quotient quantity. If I want to also return the labels for column F, then I need to say F, comma, and then also return the quotient. So now I'm going to get 2 columns, one that's going to have the labels, and then the quotient, or the percent uninsured. Okay, so that's going to be the 3 percentages for race category 1, 2, and 3 then. The other thing that I can do here is add more things to group by. So if I want to also group by Medicare expansion, I can just add that to my list. So let's go back here, and here I'm going to say I want to select column D, which is Medicare expansion, and column F, which is going to be the race category. And then here I want to group by D, and then I need a comma between that because I want to group by two things here. So just like here where I need to put commas between my selects, I'm going to need to put commas between the things that I would like to group by. And now I can see that I'm getting Medicare expansion no. Okay, there's the states that have not, okay, expanded regarding Medicare. And then these are the states that have. And then within each of those, I have my race 1, 2, 3, again for white, black, and Hispanic. And we can see that let's go ahead and maybe change those to percents. We can see that the percents for the no group tend to be higher than the percents for the yes group. So Medicare expansion has resulted in a reduction in the percentage of people uninsured. The other thing that I could do is group by race, but pivot on Medicare expansion. And the pivot, what that's going to do is create additional columns. So not additional rows, but additional columns. So right now I am grouping by Medicare expansion and I'm grouping by race category. Let's change our query statement just slightly so that we're pivoting on Medicare expansion instead. So here I'm not going to want to select column D because I want to pivot on that instead. So I want to take column D out of the select and I want to take column D out of the group by. But I want to add column D to the pivot. Okay, so here I'm adding it to the pivot. Let's go ahead and see if that works. And indeed it does. Let me fix the formatting there for that particular cell. So now I can see that here, column B now is that percent uninsured. It's that quotient that's being computed by the select statement. But this is for the no states. So Medicare expansion, no. And now you can more easily compare these numbers against these. They're right next to one another. Okay, so that's a little bit easier to make these comparisons if we specify the Medicare expansion as a pivot instead of a group by. So again, what a pivot does is give me separate columns for the quantity or the summary that's being done. A group by gives me separate rows for those. Doesn't really matter what version you use. It just is a preference in terms of how you want the output to appear. Okay, that does it then for showing you how to use group by and pivot with the query statement. Thank you.